What's up, everybody? It is Broken Havoc here on the Broken Havoc podcast. Here to review Hell in a Cell 2021. Of course, it happened last night, the final pay-per-view to happen inside the Thunderdome. The next pay-per-view, of course, we got Money in the Bank. Quite frankly, I do believe that match should be at WrestleMania. Instead, it has its own pay-per-view. I don't know why. It's been that way for the last 10 years. It makes absolutely no sense, but hey, this is the last pay-per-view before we go to live crowds, and I will say it was not a bad show. There were some ups, there were some downs. Of course, everybody is crapping on the botch that Charlotte did when it came to the stomps, which was bad, by the way. It was terrible. And if anything, Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair was my least favorite match. Not only that, I didn't care for much of that match because the build was just, they try to make it seem important, which I try to applaud WWE for, but if anything, nobody cared. But with that out of the way, I will talk about the whole card. I will run down the whole card. So, the first match of the evening was Bianca Belair versus Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship inside Hell in a Cell. And by the way, I do not like the fact that the Hell in the Cell structure is red. I don't know about you guys. I think it's stupid. That's one way to devalue the Hell in the Cell match. For number one is making it its own pay-per-view, and number two, it's making the whole cage red. So, it's just stupid. I don't know why they did that. It makes it too gimmicky, in my opinion. It's basically the Steel Asylum in TNA, if you guys remember that. But we got Bianca Belair versus Bayley inside Hell in a Cell, which they announced that it was going to be inside Hell in a Cell like 2 nights before the pay-per-view, so on SmackDown. But what are my thoughts on this match? This was not a bad match whatsoever. The first few phases of the match were, in my opinion, a little slow, but later on throughout the match, I thought it was much better. It was not a bad match, though, I will say. Not the best match, but it was not a bad match. Alright, the match starts. Both lock up. Bianca picks up Bayley, slams Bayley, then clotheslines Bayley. Bayley sends Belair to the middle rope. Bayley grabs the chair. Then we get a takedown by Bayley. Bayley tries to hit her with the chair, but she tries to hit Bianca with the chair. We get a roll-up on Bianca twice. Both pin attempts were a near fall. Both face off. Bianca uses her hair whip as a weapon. Bayley gets sent in the corner. We get a drop kick by Belair. Works on Bayley in the corner. Takes Bayley to the top turnbuckle. We got a couple right hands by Belair on Bayley. Moonsault by Belair showing off in front of Bayley. Tries to suplex Bayley. Bayley's on the apron and taking Belair face first onto the ring post. Sends Belair onto the other ring post. Then we get a kick by Bayley. Cover by Bayley and a near fall. Sends Belair into the corner. Works on the left arm of Belair. We get a cover by Bayley and a near fall. Takes down Belair. Cover and a near fall. Bayley takes out the steel steps. Takes them in the ring. Elbow drops by Bayley. Steps on the ponytail of Belair at this point. So, of course, she's getting the heat right now. So, Belair pulls Bayley, and Bayley falls on the ring steps. Bayley fights back with a running knee into the corner. Cover and a near fall. She ties Belair's hair onto the bottom rope. Bayley misses a kick and falls onto the steel steps. Belair throws the steps outside, but misses. Sends Bayley into the cage. Drives the face of Bayley into the face of the cell. Bayley bites the arm of Belair. Kicks the injured arm of Belair. Bayley takes a kendo stick and hits Belair at this point. And she puts 2 sticks together in between the cage and the ring. We got a sunset flip and a powerbomb by Bayley on Belair, which looked crazy. Bayley takes out another kendo stick, then puts 2 kendo sticks in between the cell. Belair fights back, and then Bayley escapes. Belair puts Bayley through the kendo sticks. Then we get a cover by Belair and a near fall. Belair takes a chair, hits Bayley with the chair. Belair runs into the corner with the chair, but Bayley hits a big boot on Belair with the chair. Bayley works on the arm of Belair and just drives it in between the chair. So in the middle portion of the steel chair, kicks on Belair. Belair ties the braid of Bayley ties the braid of Belair on the chair. Bayley begins to do her laugh, which I'm not a big fan of. Right hand by Belair on Bayley, running knee on Belair with the chair. Bayley is selling the knee at this point. Belair uses the braid and ties it on Bayley. We got a shoulder tackle. Goes to the outside, drives Bayley on the cell, hits Bayley with the kendo stick, drives Bayley on the cage. Belair, after that, unties herself. Bayley tells the referee that she is done. Belair at this point kicks Bayley in the cell head first, drives Bayley constantly on the cell. Bayley drives the ladder on Belair. Both are playing tug-of-war after this inside the ring with the ladder. Bayley drives Belair onto the ladder, takes Belair in between the ladder, drives the ladder in between Belair. We get a rose plant by Bayley. Bayley sells the knee at this point. Belair tries to roll out. We get a cover by Bayley and a near fall. Roll up by Belair, near fall. Roll up by Bayley while her hand was on the rope, near fall. Belair tries to apply a backslide pin attempt. Bayley tries to counter. Belair tries to grand slam Bayley but sends her into the corner. Belair takes the ladder and puts it on top of Bayley. Belair goes to the top. Belair misses. Senton by Belair on the ladder on top of Bayley. Belair hits a KOD, which is the kiss of death, on Bayley through the ladder. Cover by Bianca Belair. And Bianca Belair retains the SmackDown Women's Championship. Overall thoughts on this match, again, as I stated earlier, the beginning portions of this match, to me, were kind of slow. But, of course, the match later got much better. I enjoyed the match for what it was. It was not the best match, but it was not a bad match. This was a fun match to watch. And later on, the other matches later on after this were really good. There was one match that I hated during this show, and it's not Charlotte versus Rhea. It's actually Alexa versus Shayna, but I'll go back to that later on. But this match was not bad. I really enjoyed especially the later portions of this match. I liked the way that they were using the kendo sticks as well, and also how Bayley was using the ladder, and they were playing tug-of-war after that. That was a really fun part of the match. But yeah, I really enjoyed this match. This is not a bad match whatsoever. And what happens after? So Bobby Lashley, of course, is backstage with the ladies, and then, of course, Alexa Bliss. So we get multiple segments. So Alexa Bliss is backstage as well. Says Lily is serving her timeout. Not nearly as naughty. She was not nearly as naughty as Shayna Baszler, and says, "Be careful what you wish for and expect the unexpected because you never know who will answer." Clearly, nobody answered, mainly because of the fact that that match absolutely sucked. Here's one match that was actually really fun to watch. This match happened at WrestleMania. Of course, Cesaro then faced Roman Reigns at WrestleMania Backlash, which was an awesome match. If you haven't watched that match, check it out. It was a really awesome match. But Cesaro versus Seth Rollins, this feud is never ending, but hey, it is what it is. It was not a bad match whatsoever. This match was really fun to watch as well. So the match starts. Rollins attacks Cesaro right before the match even starts. Then Cesaro picks up Rollins and slams Rollins. By this point, the match starts. Both exchange shots. We get a back body drop by Cesaro. Then a big boot by Cesaro. Kick by Rollins on the outside. Cesaro sends Rollins onto the barricade. Then we get an uppercut by Cesaro. Takes Rollins back in the ring. Cesaro goes to the top. He drops Rollins. Cover by Cesaro and a kick out at 1. Works on Rollins in the corner. Takes Rollins headfirst onto the turnbuckle in the corner. Uppercuts in the corner by Rollins. Then there's a couple rights and lefts in the corner by Cesaro. Rollins fights back. Drives Cesaro onto the second turnbuckle. Works on Cesaro into the corner. DDT by Rollins. Cover by Rollins and a kick out at 1. Works on Cesaro by driving his knee onto Cesaro's face. Continues to work on Cesaro after that. Right hand by Rollins on Cesaro. Knee to the midsection twice on Cesaro. Rollins tries to suplex Cesaro. Cesaro instead suplexes Rollins. Cesaro gets taken over the top rope. Running knee from the apron on Cesaro. Face first on the outside. Rollins takes Cesaro into the ring. Springboard knee on Cesaro by Rollins. Cover and a near fall. Right hand by Rollins on Cesaro. Second right hand by Rollins. Drives his fist on the injured eye of Cesaro. Cesaro counters with an uppercut. Then we get a second uppercut. Right hand by Rollins. Cesaro hits multiple uppercuts on Rollins. Cesaro blocks and drops on Rollins. He drops Rollins. Then he kicks on Rollins as well. Takes the glove off of Rollins. We get a clothesline by Cesaro. Then we get a cover and a near fall. Kicks the glove of Rollins. Uppercuts in the corners by Cesaro. Rollins counters. We get a power slam by Cesaro. Cover and a near fall. Cesaro tries to hit the neutralizer, but Rollins escapes. Cesaro is on the top rope. Rollins comes on the top. Tries to superplex him. Cesaro counters. Crossbody by Cesaro. Roll through by Rollins. Near fall. Elbow to the jaw by Rollins. Then we get an enziguri by Seth Rollins. Right hand by Rollins. Elbow to the neck of Rollins. Cover by Rollins and a near fall. Stomps on Cesaro. Armbar by Rollins on Cesaro. Knee to the eye of Cesaro. We get a Falcon Arrow after that by Rollins. Cover and a near fall. Kick to the back of the neck of Cesaro. Cover and a near fall. Kick to the midsection of Cesaro. Discus clothesline by Cesaro. Cesaro takes Rollins for the Cesaro swing. I believe it was 15 times where he actually hit that Cesaro swing. I think that was that was the amount that Cesaro hit. I think the record, I believe it was 21. Correct me if I'm wrong. Crossface by Cesaro on Rollins after that. Roll through by Rollins. Kick out. Then we get a sharpshooter attempt by Cesaro. Stomps on the arm of Rollins. And then all of a sudden, Rollins applies an inside cradle pin attempt and actually steals the win. Rollins wins this match against Cesaro. What are my thoughts on this match? This was a pretty good match. One of the best matches of the night, in my opinion. This was really fun to watch. I love the chemistry between both Cesaro and Seth Rollins. Yes, I believe that this feud is done to death. I believe that this feud shouldn't happen anymore. It's over with. And who knows what they're going to be doing with Seth Rollins and Cesaro in the future. A lot of people were saying that they may be later on put in the main event scene. I do look at Cesaro as a future Universal Champion. I just don't know when they're going to be putting the belt on him. Probably I'm getting way ahead of myself, but it is what it is. But not a bad match. All right. So Shayna Baszler is backstage in Gorilla with Nia Jax and Reginald. So she does not care. She states that she does not care about what Alexa Bliss has to say. After that, slaps Reginald. Look, Reginald is literally trying to quote unquote cheer her up, and he's about to kiss her hand. And after that, just Shayna Baszler just slaps him and leaves. So that was hilarious. All right, so we got Shayna Baszler versus Alexa Bliss. This match was so stupid, in my opinion. Nobody likes the supernatural stuff, and a lot of other people were saying, and don't quote me on this, a lot of other people were saying this, and I absolutely agree. This will not fly when they get back on the road. If anything, fans will boo this throughout, mainly because of the fact that it's just really stupid to watch, and it goes to show you the main issue with WWE's product, in that just stuff makes no sense and they're doing stupid shit like this. So the match starts. We get a clothesline by Baszler. We get a kick by Baszler into the corner. Bliss works on the knee of Baszler. We get a right hand by Baszler. Knee to the back of Baszler. Drops on Baszler. We get a cover into a near fall. We get an elbow by Baszler. Running knee into the corner on Alexa. Drops Bliss. Cover into a near fall. Bliss begins to laugh. I know, man, right? We're watching a horror movie. It's the horror show at Extreme Rules, guys. Baszler works on the left wrist of Bliss. Baszler keeps her down. Stomps on the elbow of Bliss. Baszler works on the wrist of Bliss. Bliss screams. She's just yelling, "Look at me." And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And Baszler just is screaming back, "Let's go." Right elbow by Bliss. Right hands by Bliss. We get a DDT by Bliss. We get a cover into a near fall. Enziguri kick by Bliss. Drop kick by Bliss. Bliss at this point clears the ring and is standing like it's a freaking horror movie, not a wrestling show. Then after that, Bliss just stares at Nia Jax, and Nia Jax just stares right back at her. And if you want to see the cringe in WWE's main roster product, you can watch this. She stares at Alexa Bliss, and after that, she slaps Reginald, continues to stare at her, and both literally scream at each other at the same time. If that is not cringe, I do not know what is. After that, then all of a sudden, Shayna Baszler comes back in the ring, and Bliss hits the end of days, and then Bliss goes to the top, hits a twisted Bliss. 1, 2, 3, In 3 seconds, Shayna Baszler, well, not in 3 seconds, but in the full pinfall count to 3, Shayna Baszler loses to Alexa Bliss. Why? That is so stupid. Why would you have Shayna Baszler, of all people, lose to Alexa Bliss? And people say, oh, it's just a storyline, but like, Shayna Baszler, for me, is destined to be a main eventer. Instead, she's treated like a joke. And she's in this stupid storyline that supernatural stuff is going on. Like, Alexa Bliss is possessed by this demon of sorts. I don't even know what the hell's going on. And, like, it's so stupid. Like, all of this stuff is so stupid, and it's worse because of the fact that Shayna Baszler got pinned by Alexa Bliss. If that is not stupidity, I do not know what is. Like, I just can't. It goes to show you that WWE is completely out of touch with a lot of the stuff that they're doing. Not only that, they do not know they do not know how pro wrestling works in 2021 because they book everything way backwards all the time. And it's stupid and it's really dumb in my opinion because WWE tries to make things feel special, but in reality, it flies right back in their faces because of stuff like this. Not only that, once fans get back in attendance and they see this, they're going to be turned off from the show and probably are going to want to leave and probably ask for a refund. Maybe I'm over-exaggerating myself, but I'm just saying, like, no fan wants to see stuff like this. I'm sorry. All right. Next match, we got Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. This was not the best match in the world, but it was not a bad match. But like they had much better matches in my opinion, but it was not a bad match at all. The match starts, both brawl when the match starts. We get a right hand by Owens, a right elbow by Owens in the corner. Sends Zayn viciously into the corner. Kick by Owens. Then we get a chop by Owens. Stomp onto the midsection of Zayn. Right hand by Owens. A high elbow by Owens. Then we get a senton by Owens. Both are on the outside. Sends Zayn to the barricade. Both go back in the ring. Then we get a couple right hands in the corner by Zayn. Chops by Owens. Kick by Zayn. Kicks by Zayn. Clothesline by Zayn. Owens is selling after that. So throughout this whole match, Owens is selling the Nigerian nail. So like he's having trouble trying to breathe. He's selling the Nigerian nail as his like devastating finisher. Tries to suplex Owens after that. Owens throws Zayn to the top rope. Splash in the corner on Zayn. Then we get a cannonball by Kevin Owens, covering a near fall. Zayn sends Owens onto the middle rope. Then we get a somersault by Zayn on the outside. Owens goes to the back of the ring. Haluva kick by Zayn into the corner. Stomp by Zayn. Right hands by Zayn. Elbow by Zayn. Owens is struggling to breathe at this point. Again, selling the Nigerian nail. Owens fights back. We get a takedown by Owens. Stomps on Zayn into the corner. Clothesline on the outside by Owens on Zayn. Owens goes back into the ring. Then we get a senton by Owens onto the outside, but Zayn gets the knees up. Then we get a blue thunder bomb by Zayn. Right hands by Zayn repeatedly. Right hands by Owens. Chops by Owens. Kicks by Owens. Owens tries to go for the sunset flip. Zayn counters and plants Owens to the mat, covering a near fall. Right hands on Owens. Stomps on Owens onto the apron. Stunner on Zayn on the outside. Zayn gets back into the ring at 9. Right hands by Zayn. Headbutt by Owens. Both exchange shots. Elbow by Owens. Stomps on Zayn. Running knee on the back of Owens. Then we get a haluva kick by Zayn. Cover. And Sami Zayn wins this match. This was not a bad match whatsoever. If anything, I kind of enjoyed this match. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. I did state before that I'm not really a big fan of this whole conspiracy garbage with Sami Zayn. Because I think it's really stupid. I think he's much better as a babyface, in my opinion. He was not a bad babyface. But, I mean, let him do what he does. Whatever. Kevin Owens is great at what he does. I love the fact that he was selling the Nigerian nail. Who knows? He probably, I don't even know, but like this match, I mean, you know, Owens is always great at what he does. Zayn is always great at what he does. If you want an example of professional wrestlers in WWE, you got Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Those guys know how to wrestle and deliver a good match all the time. Granted, this match was not the best, but it was not as bad to the point where it wanted me to tune out of the show. It was not zombies at all. But this match was not bad at all. It was not the best, but it was not bad. Now, one match that I really did not care about, and I know you didn't watching this video, probably, you didn't care about at all. And that match is being Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. Now, in my predictions video, I actually predicted that Charlotte Flair was actually going to be winning this match. Clearly, I'm wrong. Well, actually, no. Take that back. She did win this match. But in typical WWE fashion, we now have this on pay-per-views. This match ends in a disqualification. Great. We got disqualifications on pay-per-views now. If we're not, like, literally, we're not tired about disqualifications. We all love disqualifications, right? No, I'm kidding. We all hate disqualifications. Why do we have disqualifications on this show and on this match? It's a pay-per-view. Again, if people were paying $50 on traditional pay-per-view for this, nobody wants to see a disqualification. But people are paying maybe, I don't know, $4 a month on Peacock. I don't even know what the price is, but like, you know, you're getting guaranteed billions, so like, why not? Let's put a disqualification in this match. But whatever. The match starts. Flair throws the belt on Rhea. We get a roll up by Charlotte. So when the match starts, right? So what happens is the referee holds the belt because it is a title match. For no reason whatsoever, Charlotte just snatches the belt from the referee and just throws it at Rhea. Like, that is so stupid. Why would you do that? It's a title match. Roll up by Charlotte. We got a one count. Rhea's on the outside, goes back in the ring. We got a kick to the midsection. Both brawl into the corner. We got a couple elbows and both exchange shots. Spinning elbow by Rhea. Rhea is sent to the corner. We got a big boot by Charlotte. Rhea's on the top. We got a right hand by Charlotte. Stomps on on Ripley, my bad. A side chin lock by Flair. So, quick thing with the stomps on Ripley. My bad if I was going quick. Usually when I read quick on my notes, I tend to miss important points. But thankfully, I stopped like right after the stomps. But I'm gonna talk about the stomps. So the stomps, I didn't actually catch this because usually when I take notes, I kind of miss a thing or two. But I was like, all right, I hear the commentators, all right, stomping on Ripley, boom. So I see this clip on Twitter, like just constantly repeating itself, and I'm like, wow, I see this thing trending, and I'm like, how do I miss this? So apparently during this spot, Charlotte, and I don't know how I missed this, by the way, because I was watching the pay-per-view live. I don't know how I missed this. I was probably taking notes, but whatever. So Charlotte was literally stomping, and when Rhea rolled out, she was still stomping. And I was like, bruh, that is a really bad botch. And when she was like way off, she was still stomping. I do not understand, man. Like, a lot of people talk about the botches made by AEW. And look, AEW has a lot of botches. Don't get me wrong, but like a lot of people don't talk about the botches that WWE does. I mean, that's a really bad botch. I mean, you can't do that. But hey, it is what it is. So let's see, where was I? We got a side chin lock by Flair. We got a takedown by Charlotte. Charlotte tries to suplex, but Rhea tries to reverse. Rhea gets sent into the corner and then outside of the ring. We get a boot by Charlotte. Sends Ripley back into the ring. We get a cover and a near fall 3 times. So, yeah, there was 3 pinfall attempts. We get a kick by Charlotte. Charlotte works on Ripley. Works on the left knee of Ripley. We get a right forearm by Charlotte into the corner. Ripley fights back. We get a clothesline by Ripley. Ripley with the headbutt. We get a super kick by Ripley. We get a straight ankle lock by Charlotte on Ripley on the ropes. Sliding kick by Ripley on Charlotte. Takes Charlotte back into the ring. Ripley goes to the top. We get a drop kick by Ripley. We get a cover and a near fall. Submission by Ripley on Charlotte. Charlotte rolls under and Rhea gets sent to the bottom turnbuckle. Natural selection by Charlotte. Cover and a near fall. Suplex by Ripley. Ripley at this point is selling the knee. Backbreaker by Charlotte and sends Ripley into the turnbuckle. We get a moonsault by Charlotte but misses. But hits a standing moonsault. That actually, I'm not gonna lie, I actually really liked this spot. So a lot of people criticize Charlotte when it comes to her moonsaults, and yeah, she doesn't do the best moonsault ever. That honor goes to Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels can hit a really awesome moonsault. If you watch his matches, he hits a lot of moonsaults, especially off the outside. So if you compare that to Charlotte's moonsaults, Charlotte is not the best when it comes to moonsault because like it looks out of place. But I will say, though, this particular spot, when Charlotte hit that moonsault, she landed directly on her feet and then caught Rhea and hit a standing moonsault, which looked pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. That looked actually really awesome. We get a cover into a near fall. Right hands by Charlotte. Superplex later on by Ripley. Both exchange shots. We get a couple chops by Charlotte. Riptide after that by Ripley. If Adnan Virk was here, he'd be like, Riptide! That was a really bad joke. Cover and a near fall. Flair drops on Rhea on the steps. Both go back into the ring. Spear by Charlotte. Figure 4 by Charlotte. Rhea gets her hand onto the bottom rope. Ripley hits on the top of the announce table on Charlotte. And after that, we get the DQ. Yeah. On a pay-per-view, on a title match, I don't think that's acceptable. I think it's really stupid for WWE to do that. Like, you have a title match on pay-per-view and you have a disqualification. Are you kidding me? Like, that's really dumb. How the hell do you have a disqualification, man? Like, WWE loves disqualifications, and it's like they can get away with it. And they basically are, mainly because of the fact that they're getting paid billions by all these television companies. But, like, come on now, man. Disqualifications, that shit makes absolutely no sense. So after the match, Ripley continues to attack Charlotte, and Charlotte fights back. Sends Charlotte onto the bottom turnbuckle. Then we get a riptide by Rhea Ripley on Charlotte, and Rhea retains the Raw Women's Championship. So not only that, the problem with this whole disqualification, it's not only there's a problem with the disqualification, it's who caused the disqualification. Isn't Rhea Ripley supposed to be the babyface? So why is Rhea Ripley causing a disqualification on Charlotte Flair? It basically makes Charlotte look stronger and Rhea look weaker. You know what I mean? Stuff like that makes absolutely no sense, and it goes to show you that, like, WWE doesn't care about the new talent that they bring up. They just don't. All right. Main event time. We got Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley inside Hell in a Cell for the WWE Championship. This was not a bad match at all. This is actually a really, really, really good match. One of the best matches of the night. Of course, it was the main event. Roman Reigns is actually nowhere to be seen on this pay-per-view. The only thing of Roman Reigns that we see was a recap of the match that he had with Rey Mysterio on SmackDown this past Friday. But, I mean, this match was really awesome. I expected Drew McIntyre to win, which I didn't want to happen, but thankfully, Bobby Lashley retains the WWE Championship. But Bobby Lashley, even though it was a Hell in a Cell match, he's the heel, so he had help from MVP. So you never know. There was a stipulation added: if McIntyre loses, he basically never challenges for the WWE title again. WWE's probably going to find a way to be like, yeah, McIntyre gets a title shot. That's really stupid, because if you watch AEW, and you guys remember Full Gear 2019, Cody basically said he's never challenging for the AEW World title if he loses against Chris Jericho. MJF caused that match, and so far, Cody hasn't challenged for the AEW World title. WWE's going to do the direct opposite, and they're going to be like, yeah, McIntyre gets a title shot. It is what it is, though. So the match starts. So the majority of this Hell in a Cell match happens on the outside of the ring. It's still inside the cell, but it happens outside of the ring. Both fight it out on the outside. McIntyre sends Lashley onto the cage, sends Drew on the cage again, sends Lashley onto the ring post. McIntyre takes the steps. Lashley counters and works on McIntyre by sending him onto the cell face first. Suplex counter by McIntyre on Lashley onto the cell. McIntyre hits Lashley with the steps, hits Lashley with the steps again. Both go back into the ring. Tries to go for a future shock DDT, but Lashley counters with an elbow. Belly-to-belly suplex by McIntyre. Both are on the outside again. McIntyre grabs a kendo stick, hits Lashley with the kendo stick, sends Lashley on the cell with a kendo stick on the throat of Lashley. McIntyre grabs the table. MVP gives the cane to Lashley. Lashley hits the cane on McIntyre, sends McIntyre face first onto the cell, drives the foot on the face of McIntyre, drives McIntyre onto the apron and then on the cell again, goes to the steps, tries to suplex McIntyre. McIntyre sends Lashley onto the ring post. White noise onto the stairs by McIntyre, so that's Sheamus's move. McIntyre takes out a table. Then McIntyre sends Lashley repeatedly face first onto the cell. McIntyre tries to suplex Lashley, but Lashley fights back and forearms the throat of McIntyre. Sends McIntyre onto the cell, but McIntyre comes back with a clothesline. Sends McIntyre face first onto the steel steps. McIntyre grabs a chair and throws them into the ring. Sets a chair in between the turnbuckle. Elbow by Lashley. McIntyre is back with an elbow. Throws Lashley face first onto the chair to the mat. Covering a near fall. hits Lashley with the chair. McIntyre's on the top rope with the chairs, applies the hurt lock after that. Hits Lashley with the steps onto the outside. Lashley grabs the steps onto the other side and sends McIntyre face first onto the steps onto the cage. Works on McIntyre onto the outside. Lashley grabs a kendo stick, gives MVP the kendo stick, and MVP from the outside actually puts the kendo stick in between the holes on the cage in front of McIntyre, so McIntyre's basically trapped. And then after that, McIntyre flips off Lashley, so I actually really liked that part. Plants McIntyre on the floor, sends McIntyre into the ring, grabs a chair. We get a back body drop face first on McIntyre onto the chair. Lashley does the same move again. Lashley hits McIntyre repeatedly with the kendo stick. We get a Claymore kick by McIntyre, cover, but MVP drags McIntyre out. Then he attacks MVP. Then we get a Claymore on MVP. Then we get a hurt lock applied by Lashley. Both go through the table. McIntyre takes Lashley back into the ring. McIntyre grabs a chair and hits Lashley repeatedly with the chair. McIntyre is about to Claymore Lashley. McIntyre misses. Lashley sends McIntyre into the post and plants him through a table. Lashley takes McIntyre back in the ring. Lashley tries to spear McIntyre. Lashley misses. Backslide by McIntyre. Then we get a near fall. Then we get a Glasgow kick by McIntyre. We get a Future Shock DDT by McIntyre. McIntyre tries to hit a Claymore. MVP grabs the foot of McIntyre. Roll up by Lashley. Wins the match. Bobby Lashley retains the WWE Championship. Overall thoughts on this match. This is a really good match to watch. This is a really good main event. And, WWE, when it comes to their pay-per-views, I will say their pay-per-views are not that bad. They're not bad at all, actually. It's just there was one match throughout the entire show that really turns off the fan. And that's the problem. Now, granted, their television show is absolutely terrible. But this match with Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre was really awesome. I really love the story that was being told. I love how MVP got involved in the match. And, there's a lot of stuff going on when it comes to kendo sticks. Of course, it's Hell in a Cell. But I'm really happy that Bobby Lashley retained, mainly because of the fact that, there's a rumored match with Brock Lesnar happening at SummerSlam. And probably that match is going to be Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam, which I'm really excited to see. I think SummerSlam is going to be one of the best shows of the year, and I'm really excited to see what's going to be happening. What they're going to be doing with Drew McIntyre, who knows? Hopefully he doesn't get another title shot and lives up. They live up to what they booked, in which McIntyre stating the stipulation: if he loses, he doesn't challenge for the title again. Granted, it's Hell in a Cell, so there's no DQ. If there was a normal match, I'd probably understand them giving the title shot back to McIntyre, but this is a Hell in a Cell match, so there's no DQ. So let's hope, Lashley keeps that belt for a long period of time. But that was the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. What are my thoughts? This was not a bad show. The only gripes I have with this show is the Ripley and Charlotte match, which I didn't care of. And, of course, the worst thing on the show was Shayna Baszler versus Alexa Bliss, considering the fact that the storyline is absolutely terrible, and Shayna Baszler basically got buried by Alexa Bliss, and I can't believe she lost to Alexa Bliss. It was really stupid, and I just hate the fact that they did that. But it is what it is. It's WWE. What are you going to do? I honestly believe that this whole Alexa storyline is going to backfire once fans come back, because no fan is paying to watch that. Everybody just wants to watch good shows, and, SummerSlam is going to be coming up, and I do believe it's going to be one of the best shows of the year. So I'm going to be excited. This is actually the final pay-per-view inside the Thunderdome, so next pay-per-view is Money in the Bank, and I'm actually really excited to see, because we got live fans back, and we got live fans back, I believe, in 2 weeks for AEW Dynamite. So a lot of stuff is happening in July. I'm really excited. Overall, this pay-per-view was not the best, but it was not a bad pay-per-view. It was actually a pretty good pay-per-view, in my opinion. So yeah, that was my Hell in a Cell 2021 pay-per-view review. Please like, subscribe, comment down below, push that bell for notifications. Follow me on social media on Instagram and Twitter. And this is Broken Havoc from the Broken Havoc Podcast. Signing out.